Breast tenderness is no joke, and chances are if you are tuning into this episode, you yourself have experienced breast tenderness before, and you would like to know what to do in the moment to support in reducing those symptoms, and or just how to prevent breast tenderness from happening in the first place. And even though there are over 160 symptoms associated with PMS, breast tenderness is one of the most common. And just because it's common does not mean that it is normal. In fact, breast tenderness is a sign, a symptom that something is going on underneath the surface, most likely due to both hormones and our lymphatic health. So in this episode, we are going to explain some common causes of breast tenderness, like why does it happen in the first place? And I will also include some tips for you to do in the moment if you're experiencing breast tenderness to support you in reducing it, and just some tips on how to prevent breast tenderness from happening in the first place. And for those of you new here, hi, my name is Maddie Miles. I am a clinical herbalist and integrative health practitioner specializing in women's health. And I created this channel to be able to create and deliver empowering and educational content for women when it comes to our hormones, our fertility, our reproductive, and overall health and well-being. So if this sounds interesting to you, definitely hit subscribe and check out all of my latest episodes. Okay, so back to our breast, back to the ladies. So first things first, it is important to decipher whether the breast tenderness that you are experiencing is related to your hormones and to your cycle, or if it is non-cyclic related and it is perhaps due to pregnancy or mastitis or another local infection or just something else going on. So it's either cyclic, meaning it's related to your hormones and into your cycle, or it's non-cyclic. And how you figure this out is by taking a little mental note or even tracking your breast tenderness in a cycle diary or a cycle tracking app and seeing when your breast tenderness occurs. If it occurs in both breasts, kind of around the same time of your cycle, later luteal phase, right before your period, then this sounds like it's cyclically related. However, if your breast tenderness is sporadic, there is no rhyme or reason to when it occurs, and or if you always experience breast tenderness, and or on top of that, another third little thing, if that tenderness and pain is localized to either one breast or one specific part of an individual breast, then this doesn't sound like it's really cyclic related, and it sounds like it's due to something else. And I know I just named a few of the other potential causes of non-cyclic breast tenderness, but just to name them again, it could be mastitis or local infection. It could be due to pregnancy or postpartum lactation. It could be due to medications such as antidepressants, and it could also be due to cyst or fibrocystic conditions in your breast. However, for most women, I typically see that the breast tenderness is a symptom of our hormones and our ovulatory menstrual cycles, and on top of that, more often than not, is actually due to estrogen, either estrogen being too high, so we have really high levels of estrogen, or we have normal levels of estrogen, but very low progesterone, and we are not metabolizing and excreting our estrogen as efficiently as we should be, which results in those feelings and those symptoms of, well, estrogen dominance, even though your estrogen technically isn't that high. And estrogen is a proliferative hormone, so it helps to grow our uterine lining in the first half of the cycle. It helps to grow the breast tissue, which both things are inherently not bad. However, little nuance here, if estrogen is too high, well then we have an extra thick uterine lining, and that more often than not results in a heavier, more uncomfortable period and period cramps and heavier flows. And also when it comes to our breast, going back to breast tenderness, it can cause stagnation and congestion and therefore the swelling and the tenderness of our breast. Also, I know that I keep touching my breast right now, but it just feels very natural. This entire episode is about breast tenderness and the health of our breast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize in advance because I keep touching my gals. Okay, so let's talk about a few things that you can do in the moment. So picture this. You're sitting at your desk, it's just any other day, and some breast tenderness starts to occur. Well, here are a few things that you can do in the moment. Now, it's funny that I just used the office and the desk analogy because this one may be a little bit hard to do at an office or in public, but my first and favorite tip is the hot and cold, alternating between a hot and cold compress. This really helps to stimulate circulation, lymphatic circulation, and can really dramatically help to reduce the tenderness, reduce the swelling all in your breast. So again, doing a hot poultice, a warm poultice, and then a cold poultice. So this is as simple as brewing some hot water in a pot. Even better if you add some herbs to there, some lymphatic loving herbs to there, some breast loving herbs, and then you soak an organic cotton or just 100% cotton t-shirt or flannel or something, that you don't mind getting wet. Soaking that in there, wringing it out, boom, there's your warm compress. And then you have your cold compress, which you can run under cold running water. Again, wring it out and then put it in the freezer just for a few minutes. You don't need it to be frozen, but you do want it to be cooler, obviously. So you'll just alternate 5 to 10 minutes with the hot compress on, and then you switch it to the cool. And honestly, there's no right or wrong amount of times to do this. I would just say do whatever feels best for you. I would recommend to do it at least 4 times each. So do the hot for a minute or so, and then do the cool for a minute or so, and then the hot for a minute or so, etc. And kind of switching back and forth. You could also just do the hot one for 4 or 5 minutes, and then you can do the cool one for 4 or 5 minutes. So see what works best for you. Also experiment with soaking the hot one in some herbs. So instead of just sticking it in hot water, stick it in some hot tea and wring it out. On that note, a ginger poultice is a really great way to reap those anti-inflammatory and circulatory benefits that ginger has. So you can create a poultice, and it's super, super simple to do this, but essentially, there are 2 ways that you could do this. You could either make that ginger tea and soak the cotton t-shirt or flannel in there, wring it out, and boom, voila. Also, you can crush up fresh ginger, which is wonderful, and it smells very good and aromatic. You can crush up fresh ginger and kind of just line it out on your cotton flannel that is wet and warm, and try to make it like a paste. If you want to, you can add some castor oil in there, or olive oil, or almond oil, something to kind of make it more sticky and like a paste, and then you put it over your breast and leave it there for a few minutes, and it'll feel amazing. On that note, the final thing that I have to say in terms of the wraps / poultices / herbal concoctions that you can wear is castor oil. So many women know about castor oil packs already. A lot of women use them, especially in the follicular and ovulatory phases, over our liver to support liver health and detoxification. Another beautiful way to use your castor oil packs is to actually do a breast pack. So you don't need a special pack for this. Again, you can also use a cotton t-shirt or a flannel, and of course one that you don't mind getting a little bit oily. But essentially you rub the castor oil on your breast, you put on that pack, you wrap it around you, or you put on a t-shirt or wrap a t-shirt or a flannel around you, and then you let it sit there for at least 30 minutes. If you could do this overnight while you sleep, even better. Something that I found very effective and that I really love is actually rubbing it on my breast, getting in the sauna, because then you're nice and warm and your pores are open on your skin. Our skin is our largest organ, so you're getting all of the benefits of sweating, but also if you have castor oil on your breast or on your liver, it's going to be able to get into the body even better if you're hot and sweaty and those pores are more dilated while you're in the sauna. So castor oil pack is the last one that I'll say. And to boost the impacts of the castor oil pack, you can also do simultaneously a liver castor oil pack at the same time, which is pretty standard of a recommendation to be supporting your liver while you're supporting your breast, or while you're also doing, for example, a liver castor oil pack, so that you're supporting the liver, which is the main organ of detoxification, while you are releasing things and getting things moving and flowing in your breast, or in the example, like I just said, in your thyroid. Tip number 2 is to hydrate with mineralized water, whether you're drinking spring water or you're drinking reverse osmosis water with minerals added back into it. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Tip number 3 is a dose of iodine, whether it's through food such as seaweed or oysters, or taking supplemental form of iodine. However, be careful if you do have lower levels of estrogen. Iodine is anti-estrogenic, so if you just take it once or so, chances are it's probably not going to do anything in terms of dramatically lowering your estrogen. But if you are considering taking, let's say, iodine consistently for breast pain, which it's very, very potent and powerful for, I would just make sure that you really do have higher levels of estrogen and that you don't have too low levels of estrogen, because this can also, lower estrogen levels. So iodine is very powerful when it comes to breast tenderness, but not every single thing is for every single person. But I did just want to mention this because it is very potent when it comes to reducing breast tenderness and breast pain. Number 4 would be to sweat it out. This helps so much, again, just to get things moving and circulating and to sweat things out. So whether it's in a sauna or if you live in Texas or somewhere else equally as hot as Texas in the summer, all you really have to do is get outside and walk around the neighborhood and you will be sweating a lot. And yes, you will get that under boob sweat as well. So sweat it out is very important always, just for our overall health and well-being, but especially when we are dealing with fluid retention and swelling. So it can be very, very helpful. Bonus points if you can also move while you're sweating, so you get that circulation, that stimulation, and you're sweating at the same time. Bonus brownie points if you cannot wear a bra. That would be amazing, so you can really let the ladies move and flow and be free and bounce and just get a lot more movement towards the breast while you're moving your entire body and sweating. And the 5th and last tip for what you can do in the moment if you're experiencing breast tenderness to alleviate that pain and discomfort is to use an herbal oil and give your ladies a little gentle massage, going clockwise 20 or so times, then counterclockwise, and really just massaging them, giving them love. It's so crazy that we have our breast and they're right here in front of us our entire life, and most of us don't even know what it feels like to truly touch them, massage them, and give them love. And they're just like any other body part of ours. They're just like our arms and our hands, and how we put lotion on our arms and our hands and we give ourselves little massages. And so to have this special connection with your breast, because if you think about it, a lot of other people benefit from our breast in our lives, such as when we're nursing our children or our partners, and or society, because society just loves breast, but we as women rarely ever give ourselves the time to touch, connect, feel, and just love our own body part, also known as our breast. So I highly recommend getting an herbal oil. I have an easy, really effective, really powerful and healing herbal oil that I make myself. I'll link up the recipe and the directions to that herbal oil in the description of this episode. So if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description of this YouTube video. If you're just listening to this on Spotify or on Apple, it'll also be in the description of this episode. So you can make this herbal oil for yourself. You can give it a try. And this also gives you an opportunity not just to put medicinal oil on your breast, but to also massage and connect with your breast to get that lymphatic tissue and fluid moving, because we have so much lymphatic tissue in our breast. So those are 5 easy tips that you can do in the moment if you're experiencing breast tenderness. But now let's talk about what you can do all throughout the month, all throughout your cycle, to prevent breast tenderness from happening in the first place. So when it comes to preventing breast tenderness from happening in the first place, there needs to be a huge emphasis on regulating estrogen levels, making sure that we do not have too much estrogen, nor do we have too little estrogen. So a major way that we do this is through supporting our liver, our gut, and our entire digestive system and detoxification. And while this episode is not by any stretch of the means a deep dive on our digestive health or on detoxification, I do have separate episodes for that I will link up somewhere here floating around this YouTube video, or again, if you're just listening to this, I'll have them linked up in the description of this episode. So while this is not a deep dive on these, I do want to mention a few ways in which I love to support my liver and my entire digestive system, and also detoxification. So a few of these are quality nutrition, sweating it out. I love getting in our infrared sauna. I don't necessarily do it every single day. It also depends on where I'm at in my cycle and how I'm feeling on any given day, but I love sweating it out pretty much every single day, and sometimes getting that really, really deep sweating out through an infrared sauna, castor oil packs, especially over my liver during the follicular and ovulatory phases, and hepatic herbs, meaning liver supportive herbs such as my bitters formula. These are just some of the many ways that I support my daily liver digestive and detoxification health. And on that note of the digestive system and supporting our intestinal tract, a lot of people say our gut, I love to do this through eating pre and probiotic foods. Stress management goes a lot further, believe it or not, than most of the supplements out there for gut health. So reducing stress, managing and changing my perspective around perceived stress that I do have in my life, really prioritizing sleep, not just sleeping for 8 to 9 hours, but also getting into bed earlier. The earlier before midnight, the better. I personally try to get into bed around 9:30 or 10 p.m. at night, and sometimes the 10 p.m. is pushing it even. For me, ideally, you get into bed between 9 to 9:45 or so at night. And then, of course, some micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals such as zinc is very supportive, our intestinal lining, fiber, and different herbal medicines that support our gut microbiome. There are many things to support your gut. Again, I will link up my entire episode on the digestive system, but this is all to say that supporting our intestinal tract, our gut digestive system, however you want to call it, is very important when it comes to regulating estrogen levels, which will help to make sure that we do not get bad PMS symptoms before our period, including breast tenderness. And I know that I already said this before, but I have to mention that daily massages on our breast are so wonderful for so many reasons and will help to prevent breast tenderness, especially when you couple that massage with an herbal oil. And I will link up my recipe for the herbal oil in this podcast video description. And why this is so important is because our breasts are full, like literally completely full of lymphatic tissue. So it's really, really important that we prioritize lymphatic health as a whole throughout our entire body, because it's going to just make us our happiest, healthiest, most vibrant selves in general across the board. But because we're talking about specifically breast tenderness here today, because we have so much lymphatic tissue in our breast, it's important to massage those babies out and to add some herbal oil that also stimulates lymphatic circulation and supports overall lymphatic health. So how you can support overall lymphatic health, and luckily I do have an entire episode on lymphatic health, and I think I include 5 or 7 tips that I do every single day that are super easy for all of us to do to support our entire body systemic lymphatic health, and that will support your ladies as well. So lymphatic health, massage, herbal oil, all these things are fabulous. Also, side note, one of the things that I did mention in the lymphatic specific episode was that we should stop wearing bras. And I know I just mentioned this a few minutes ago, but if we're going to be wearing a bra, please, 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 please opt for a wire-free bra. That wire is just straight up cutting off circulation, and that is not good for our breast health in neither the short or the long term. So go bra-free if possible. If not possible, wear a bralette that is soft and thin and supportive, but there's no wire. There's no aggressively tough, sturdy metal wire anywhere near your boobs. You just let them all flow, because this lymphatic tissue isn't just in our breast, but it extends out into our armpits and into our arms and into the rest of our body. So ditch those wire bras, opt for being bra free. If that doesn't work out, that's totally okay. Opt for a nice soft silk or cotton or another soft material of your choice bra. Another tip is eating real food, local when possible, always organic. When you're opting for meats and poultry and eggs, making sure that you're going organic, grass-fed, and grass-finished. Make sure it's grass-finished as well. Eating really high-quality foods and fruits and vegetables and phytoestrogens that come from more plant foods and our ground flax seeds. All of these things are so wonderful to incorporate into your daily life to support your overall health, to support your hormone health and regulating estrogen and preventing breast tenderness. Okay, just 2 more. My second to last one is to ditch the plastic and any toxic chemical cleaning products or beauty products or bath products, just anything that has synthetic chemicals in it, stay away from. A lot of these enter into our body and mimic estrogen in our bloodstream. It dysregulates our estrogen levels, increases estrogen, gives us estrogen dominant symptoms, including all of the PMS symptoms and breast tenderness. So ditch the plastic and ditch the toxins. And lastly, but certainly not least, let's talk about some herbal medicine. My Soothe Herbal Tincture contains 10 different herbs and a bunch of different herbal combinations that mostly have their roots in traditional Chinese herbal medicine that have been used for thousands of years to regulate women's hormones and cycles and to boost fertility and overall reproductive health. So many women talk about their experience about taking Soothe on our website, and they talk about their breast tenderness being gone, their skin clearing up, their cycles being regular and healthy. So I highly recommend checking it out. Well, everyone, there we have it. Today we talked about the two different forms of breast tenderness, the cyclic related and the non-cyclic related, why breast tenderness happens, how it's usually linked to estrogen, tips for what to do when you are experiencing breast tenderness in the moment, and very importantly, tips for you to practice all throughout your cycle to prevent breast tenderness from happening in the first place. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit subscribe and stay up to date with all of my videos, and please recommend this video to another lady in your life who you think would benefit from this. Additionally, if you feel called to do so, share in the comments of this video something that you do to support your breast health. Until next time, peace, love, hormones.